Hello everyone, in this video lesson mechanics, this is BSc first year semester 1 paper. So today is discuss about introduction of vectors. So introduction of to vector, that is the scalar quantities and vector quantities, types of vectors, and next topic is grad, del and divergent of a vector, vector integrations. These are today is discuss about these topics. So first of all, scalar quantity and vector quantity. So scalar quantity, what is define of scalar? So scalar is both magnitude and direction. This is both are applicable in this scalar. So what is the scalar? And magnitude and direction, this is applicable the scalar. So scalar quantity, what is the scalar quantity? Is a scalar quantity is defined as the physical quantity with only magnitude and no direction. Scalar quantities of examples: mass, speed, distance, time, volume, density and temperature. These are the scalar quantities examples. Scalar quantity is the one of the example. Can speed. What is the speed? One example is car. Then car is only magnitude, no direction. So that is speed is of the one example of scalar quantity. And another one, vector quantity. What is the define of vector quantity? A vector quantity is defined as the physical quantity that has both direction and magnitude. So applicable vector is applicable to the magnitude and direction. So vector quantity is defined as the physical quantity that has no direction as well as the magnitude. Examples of the vector quantity: velocity, acceleration, displacement, movement, angular velocity, force and electric field, polarization. These are the examples of the vector quantities. Vector quantities, one example explain velocity. What is the velocity? Velocity means only both magnitude and direction. So suppose I am driving to the car. So car is direction and so car on the road, way of the road, that is direction is the car driving and car is the magnitude. So both are applicable velocity. So that is example of vector quantities. This is the vector quantity. And next, types of vectors. Types of vectors is unit vector, equal vector, zero vector and parallel vectors. These are the types of vectors. Define unit vector. A unit vector is a vector which is a vector of the unit magnitude and points in a particular direction. The unit vectors in the direction of a arrow mark, that is the symbol of unit vector a bar. R is a cap. This is the symbol of a cap, that is the unit vector is the symbol and is defined as this a cap. So one example, that is unit vector. This is the x direction, this is O is the origin point, x direction, y direction, z direction. X direction is the I vector and y direction is the j vector and k, z direction is the k vector. So unit vector is the that is det of A is equal to a cap. So this is the symbol of unit vector is equal to 1, that is the equal to 1. Unit vector means that is a cap is equal to 1. The unit vector along the x, y, z axis is the vectors is represented the I cap, j cap and k cap. So this is the unit vector. And equal vectors, any two vectors are equal, that is a mod equal to a b mod as well as their directions as same. This is the equal vectors. And zero vectors. Zero vector is a vector with zero magnitude and an arbitrary directions is a zero vector. It can be represented by the O and is null vector. So zero vector or null vector, that is equal to 0, that is called the zero vector. This is the vector. Then this is the zero vector is represented by the 0 or null vector. This is the zero vector. And next one, position vector. This is the let us consider x axis direction, y axis direction and z axis direction. That is the vectors of x axis direction is I and y axis direction is j and z axis direction is k terminal. This is the origin point, that is O is the taken as the refer origin and P is an arbitrary point in space, then this vector. So OP is called the position vector, that is OP is the distance between r vector. So that is OP is equal to r vector. What is the r? That is the r is the position vector. So OP is the distance of r is the position vector. What is the position vector? This is x direction in I term, and y direction is the j term, and z direction is the k term. That is position vector is equal to xi plus yj plus zk is the position vector. And next, parallel vectors. Parallel vectors have the same line of action, are having the lines of action parallel to one another, as called the collinear parallel vectors. This is the parallel, both are the equal to these vectors, that is called the parallel vector. And next, del, gradient, divergent and curl of a vectors. What is the del and gradient and divergent and curl also? This is the basic topics of vectors. Okay. So del operator and gradient of a scalar function, divergent of a vector, curl of a vector, we discussing. So del operator, this is the symbol of del operator, this is the symbol of del operator symbol. This is called the vector differential operator. That is del is equal to, what is the del? Del is equal to I into dou by dou x plus j into dou by dou y plus k into dou by dou z. This is the del operator, that is the del is equal to, once again, I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z. So again, next, del, gradient of a scalar function. What is gradient? Gradient is the symbol of, that is grad into grad. That if, let us consider, if pi of x comma y comma z is a scalar function of 3 variables, and that is pi is differentiable, the gradient of pi is defined as the grad pi. Grad pi is equal to del pi or del pi, grad pi or del pi, that is equal to I into dou pi by dou x plus j into dou pi by dou y plus k into dou pi by dou z. That is y is the, here pi is a scalar function and del pi is the vector function. So pi is the scalar function and del pi is the vector function. One example of the gradient of pi. So if pi is equal to x square y z cube plus x y square and z square, to determine the grad pi at a point p is equal to 1, 3, 2. So you find the grad pi. Okay. So pi is equal what? X square y z cube plus x y square z square. So what is grad pi? Grad pi means, grad pi or del pi you can write, that is equal to dou pi by dou x I plus dou pi by dou y z plus dou pi by dou z k. So you derive this grad pi. Grad pi means, that is dou pi by dou x. So this first of all you can find out the dou pi by dou x, that with respect to x, dou pi by dou x, with respect to partial differentiating with respect to x in this equation. So what is the differentiating x square y z cube plus x y square z square means? So x square is partial differentiating of 2x. So y and z is also, this is constant terms. So with respect to x, that's why y and z is also constant. And what is the x square? 2x. And again plus, what is x? X means differentiating with respect to x 1, and y square z square. And again this equation partial differentiating with respect to y. So dou pi by dou y equal to x square, y is the partial differentiating with respect to y, that's why that is equal to 1. So x square into z cube, that is, these are constants, plus what is the y square? Y square means, that is 2y. This is with respect to y, that's why, sorry, y square is equal to partial difference of 2y. So 2x into y, that is z square is equal to constant. X term and z square term is the constant. Dou pi by dou z, this is partial differentiating with respect to z. So, this is here x square y is the constant and z cube means 3 z square. So, 3 z square, x square y term is constant. Again z square means 2 z. So, x y square is the constant. So, with this term is partial differentiating with respect to z, and this term is partial differentiating with respect to y, and this term is partial differentiating with respect to x. This values is substituting in grad pi or del pi in substituting this formula. So, what is grad del pi equal to what? Dou pi by dou x I plus dou pi by dou y j plus dou pi by dou z k. So, what is dou pi by dou x means this value 2 x y z cube plus y square z square into I plus dou pi by dou y means x square z cube plus 2 x y z square into z term plus dou pi by dou z means 3 x square y z square plus 2 x y square z into k vector. So, at this is the grad pi value. So, and at point p is equal to 1 3 2, this value is substituting in this grad pi. So, p equal to 1 3 2 this value. So, these coordinates is the x y z. So, x is equal to 1, y equal to 3 and z is equal to 2. This values is substituting in grad pi or del pi. So, x means 1. So, 1 and y means 3 and z here z cube. So, z cube means 8, 8 3 ja 24 and plus what is the y? Y means 3, that is 3 square and z square means 4, that is 9, 4 ja 36, 36 plus what 8, yeah, that is 84 I plus similarly x y z terms is substituting in this z term and k term. So, simplification, what is the grad pi or del pi value is 84 I plus 32 z plus z 72 k. This is the one of the example of the grad pi model problem. Next topic is divergent of a vector. If A is equal to axi plus ayj plus azk, the divergent of A is defined as the that is div A equal to del dot A. So, divergent of that is divergence means that is the symbol of div div or del dot A, any vector. Let us consider A or F and B. So, any vector is considered, that is if I consider A equal to axi plus ayj plus azk. Okay. So, you can find out the div A or del dot A. What is the div? Div means you know div A or del dot A. Del, you know del. What is del? Del is means I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z. Here what is the A terminal? A vector A is equal to axi plus ayj plus azk. So, this is multiplication in I into I term, I into j term, I into k terms. You know everyone, I into I is the vector is equal to 1, I into j equal to 0, I into k is equal to 0. So, again same j into in this vector A. So, j into I and j into j, j into k. You know j into I is equal to 0, j into j is equal to 1, j into j dot k equal to 0, and k term, k is the vector is A is also multiplication, k dot I is equal to 0, k dot j is equal to 0, k dot k is equal to 1. So, this is multiplication in these two del operator are the vector A. So, this is multiplication, what is I into I is the 1. So, that is why dou A x by dou x plus dou A y by dou y plus dou A z by dou z. Only I term is multiplication within vector I term and j term and k term. So, I into I is equal to 1. So, I into j, I into k term is the, that is both our terms is 0. So, that is why this is only dou A x by dou x. Similarly, j term and k term. So that's why j into j is 1. So dou ay by dou z, and similarly k dot k is equal to 1. So dou az by dou z. This is the del of a vector. Some solving one problem in this type of method. Let us consider one example. A is equal to x square y I minus x y z j plus y z square k. To determine the divergent A or div A. Div A means del dot A or also at the point 1, 2, 3. You can find the div A. Div A or del dot A. These are both names. You can write that div A means del dot A. You know del operator, and that is you can if you consider a vector, you can write this A term. Okay, del dot A means A is equal to x square y I minus x y z j plus y z square k. So what is del? Del means I into dou by dou x plus j into dou by dou y plus k into dou by dou z. Here this term ax and only x, that is I term, and z term, and az means k term. Okay, k vector. This is ax means I term. This I term, this is the x axis term, and ay is equal to here minus x y z, and az means y z square. So that is differentiating I term and z term and k term. So here partial differentiating with respect to x. So ax means that is x square y. X square y means that is y with respect to x. Y is constant and x square is 2x, that is 2xy, and again this is ay term. Ay term is j vector term. So here dou by dou y. So here minus x y z. So with respect to y, so that's why y is 1, dou y by dou y is 1. His x and z is constant, so minus x z plus, and again dou az by dou z. So z term, what is the z term? Y z square. Here y is the constant and with respect to z, so that's why z square means 2z. So y is constant and z square ki differentiating 2z, 2yz. Okay, this is the div A or del dot A simplification. So 2xy minus xz plus 2yz at a point x 1, 2, 3. So these coordinating points is substituting in del dot A or div A equation. So what is x value 1 and y value is 2 and z value is the 3 in substituting in this above equation. Div A is equal to, what is x? X means 1 and y means 2. So 2 into 1 into 2 minus, what is x? X means 1 and z means 3, 1, 3, and plus 2 into y value is 2 and z value is 3. So this is simplification. Div A is equal to 13, that is del dot A equal to, what is the value of 13, and div A value is derive this equation and substituting at a point in this equation. Okay, this is the divergent one of the example solved problem in this method. So next, curl of a vector. What is curl? Let us consider this vector. If a vector A is equal to axi plus ayj plus azk, then the curl of A is defined as a curl. Curl means curl of A is equal to del cross A. డైవర్జెంట్ ఎలా కన్సిడర్ చేసుకుంటున్నామో అదే విధంగా కర్ల్ ఆఫ్ ఏ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ ని డెల్ క్రాస్ ఏగా కన్సిడర్ చేసుకోవడం జరుగుతుంది. కర్ల్ ఏ ఆర్ డెల్ క్రాస్ ఏ, దిస్ ఈజ్ ద క్రాస్ సింబల్ ఆఫ్ కర్ల్, డెల్ క్రాస్ A. This is you can speak out cross, not into, you can speak out the cross. Okay, del cross A. What is del cross A? Del, you know what is del? I into dou by dou x plus j into dou by dou y plus k into dou by dou z. What is cross and a? What is the vector? A equal to axi plus ayj plus azk. So, axi plus ayj plus azk. So, this is the cross multiplication of curl A is equal to, so I term, j term, k. This is the det into I, j, k. What is I term? Dou by dou x, and j term dou by dou y, and k term is dou by dou z. This is the del operator in this line. And again vector operator I term, j term, and k term. What is I term? That is ax, and j term is ay, and k term is az. This is the curl A or del cross A formula. What is det? Is det of I, j, k dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. That is ax, ay, az. This is the A vector values. Okay. This is the curl of a vector formula. And one example of curl model problem solve. Find out curl of f of x comma y comma z is equal to 3x square I plus 2zj minus x k. This is the curl of f vector form. So, any vector you can consider, that is here f. So, that is curl of f is equal to del cross f. Del cross f is equal to what? This is the formula of del cross I, j, k, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. A, that is p, q, r terms. Let us consider ax, ay, az also. So, here what is ax, ay, az? So, that means is equal to ax means p, ay means q, and az means r. So, I, j, k terms, and dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. What is the a term? 3x square. This is p value. So, this is f. This line is totally del operators I, j, k terms, and this term is f vector I, j, k terms. So, that is p is the 3x square, and q is 2z, and r is the minus x. Del cross f is equal to, so I, j, k dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by z, p, q, r terms. Here p term is 3x square, and q is equal to 2z, and r is equal to minus x. So, this is cross multiplication is the, det is means one term I term is close, then you can cross multiplication of j and k terms. Here I term is close, that is I value is, you can find I term I into, that is this is closing, and this is the value is cross multiplication, and y term and z term. So, dou by dou y into minus x, dou by dou z into 2z. So, here this term is positive term, and down to up, that is negative term, and again minus, this is z term is minus j, here j. So, this is j is the close, this term is the close. So, this is x term is, and k term is cross multiplication. So, dou by dou x of minus x, and dou by dou z of 3x square. So, this is dou by dou x minus x, and dou by dou z is the 3x square. So, j term is the close, plus, and k term is close, and I, j terms is cross multiplication. So, what is the k? K into dou by dou x 2z minus dou by dou y 3x square. This is cross multiplication. So, first of all dou by dou x into 2z minus lower term is minus, okay, dou by dou y into 3x square, that is x term. So, partial differentiating in this values, dou by dou y, dou by dou y with respect to y. So, that is why here is only x term. So, no y term, that is this is the constant, that is 0, minus dou 2z means 2z is the with respect to z kabatti. So, here minus 2 into I, minus this is the I term, minus, and z term. So, with respect to minus. Okay, with respect to this is a I term and z term and k terms. So, minus 2i and minus into minus plus j terms, no k terms, that is also with respect to x. So, the j term is 0 and with respect to y, here no y term. So, that is why k term is also totally 0. So, minus 2i plus j, this is the curl f, del cross f. Okay. This is the curl of a vector. This is formula, and substituting and cross multiplication I term and j term and k term. You can, I term is cross multiplication, I term is totally cross. Then y and z is cross multiplication, j term is close, and x and z is totally cross multiplication, and k term is, so k term is totally close, and x y is the cross multiplication. This is x term and downward is the y term. So, this is the differentiating of partial with respect to x, y, z, that is the simplification, that is the value of curl f is equal minus 2i plus j. Okay, this is the curl of a vector solved problem. So, introduction of a vector, what is the scalar quantity and a vector quantity. Here scalar quantity is that is both physical quantities with only magnitude, no direction, that is called the scalar quantity. Is the example of the speed and mass, these are examples of the distance and time, these are the examples of the scalar quantities. And vector quantities, what is the vector quantities, is defined as physical quantity that has both magnitude and directions. What is the examples of vector quantity is velocity, acceleration, and momentum, angular velocity. These are the vector quantities. And types of vectors, this is small short answer question. This is the very important, is also unit vectors, equal vectors, zero vectors, and parallel vectors. This is the types of vectors. Unit vector means that is the this is unit vector is defined as a cap, that is equal to 1. So, that is the unit vector. This is like that, x and y z axis is the vectors is I, j, k vectors is respectively. So, equal vectors, both are equal vectors, a vector equal to b vector. So, as well as the same direction and same are equal, a or b are equal. So, and next one, zero vector. Zero vector is the zero magnitude and no that is arbitrary directions is a zero vector. Is one of the zero vector is named null vector, is also null vector means null vector or zero vector. This is the vector, this is the zero vector. And position vector, one of the position origin point, and let us consider one point P. This is OP, distance is the R. This is the R means position vector. Position vector OP is equal to R. R means that is the x, y, z terms. This is I, j, k terms. I is xi plus yj plus zk. So, and parallel vector. Parallel, both are the equal vectors. And del, gradient, divergent, and curl of a vectors is the this is definitions and very important. After that classes you can use del and div, grad operators. So, del operator and grad operator and curl of a vector formulas. Okay, this is the curl of a vector formulas. What is del? This is here del operator. Del is means I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k into dou by dou z. Grad pi is I into dou pi by dou x plus j into dou pi by dou y plus k into dou pi by dou z. And this is divergent. Divergent is the vector I into dou by dou x plus j into dou by dou y plus k into dou by dou z into a vector. Okay, and curl of a vector, curl is equal to det of I, j, k dou by dou x dou by dou y dou by dou z, ax, ay, az terms. Okay, this is the curl of a vector.